Hello everybody and welcome to RPG Horror Stories. Today we do actually have a story that's not a horror story. It is from r/D&D. It's going to be what ends off our video. And we're going to be starting off with player calls shenanigans over NPCs reacting to his tactics. We're in the process of starting a new Shadowrun campaign soon. During the prep talks I shared this with one of my players, and they said it might be worth posting. A good 6 to 7 years ago, a group of 4 Shadowrunners were involved in some high-concept crimes in 2053 Seattle. One of them was a tech whiz / rigger, who will be our guy for this story. If you don't know, Shadowrun is a very high-tech setting. It's basically like Cyberpunk. It's amazing. I actually do recommend you guys play it. And if you don't play it, the books are all fucking amazing. Like, fucking Nova, dude. You need to read the books. They're so good. And if you haven't read any of your D&D novels, bro, are you living under a fucking rock? At the relevant point in time, the group had done about half a dozen jobs, mostly data steals and a kidnapping, and half of them targeting the offices and depots of a very specific corporation. Basically a consumer-grade computer and cybernetics part manufacturer that was run by the Yakuza. Oh, so, off-brand Apple. These repeated attacks caused said corp to up their security, which will matter in a moment. Like all good runner teams, one had a punch on for planning, and this is where our guy steps in. Being the rigger, he was in charge of providing drone support while waiting in the nearby van, with getaway driving being his secondary duty. Typically, his contribution to the team's plans was what he called special delivery, which consisted of attaching a bundle of grenades to a lightweight helicopter drone, flying it through a window, dropping a 6-pack of frag into the laps of unsuspecting corpo guards, and the method was simple, but effective against the unprepared. Bro! Can we talk about how just badass that is to roleplay? The dude literally straps a fucking string of 6 frag grenades, flies a helicopter into a fucking building, and just drops it off and leaves. This is a fucking amazing assassination tactic for video games like this. Well, not video games, for tabletop RPGs, but goddammit, it'd probably work in Metal Gear Solid, I'll tell you what. That's awesome! And I do suspect that this is exactly what the future corpo guards are planning around and have some sort of contingency for. Cut to the job in question, where the party is sneaking into a fenced-off facility belonging to the now well-established corporation. It was a more secure target than their previous runs, and it had a big open courtyard. So they opted for the classic entry through the sewer. About 2 hours into the session, everything was going swimmingly thanks to some quick thinking and the help of some nature spirits. And as the bulk of the party is getting into the building itself, the rigger releases the grenade drone so that it's ready for the inevitable engagement. Seconds later, the unsuspecting drone is intercepted. A pair of basic security drones were flying around the building, something that would have been easily noticed if the rigger had done any amount of looking before flying his drone in. And once they spotted it, the special delivery was immediately shot down by the courtyard guards, and said guards were now alerted, endangering the team. As soon as the drone was taken out, the rigger boldly jumped into action. He jumped up and without hesitation accused me of being a dick and trying to shut down his fun by targeting him specifically. This reasonably caught me a little off guard. While I don't remember the exact conversation at the time, I did ask him whether he really thought the opposition would not have an answer to the dollar store drone with explosives duct taped to it. Especially after getting hit by that exact same move 3 times in the last month. The other players were mostly just trying to be constructive. They pointed out that he probably should prepare more than just one thing to do on the runs, and that he wasn't really using his skill set and gear to the fullest. It was a good group, and they were just as wordless about his reaction as I was. Now then, don't be afraid to call your DM out. Some DMs can be very, very power trippy, but don't ever feel afraid to call your DM out. But if it's something literally just like, oh man, my dollar store drone was killed, or oh man, this monster's immune to fire and he absorbed my fireball. Dude, that's not worth saying shit about. Just come up with a new tactic in the meantime. The dollar store drone with the grenade bouquet worked a few times, that's fine. And it's a solid tactic to have in your back pocket in the case that things are going wrong, because you can just dollar store drone a grenade bouquet over a bunch of guards' heads and just save your entire group's ass. You don't have to be, fucking Agent 47 Silent Assassin suit only. What's not cheap is having a good DM, and it sounds like this player does have a good DM, and I applaud the DM and the other players at the table for shutting this the fuck down. Now, on with the story. After about 10 minutes of talking him down that almost escalated into shouting, he pouted the rest of the evening. He didn't really communicate or join in on the planning afterwards. The only thing he did for the rest of the run was a few reluctant, ineffective pistol pot shots into the darkened courtyard as the team tried to get out. At one point in the conversation about how badly the run was going, he got so pissy that he actually threatened he'd just drive off and leave the group to fend for themselves. They did manage to get out of there, wounded but alive, and escaped with their tail between their legs. The game did not end on a positive note that night, and not just because the run was a wash. After that, we just kind of packed up and just awkwardly parted with a muttered, "See you next week." While the whole thing was a downer, it does end on a positive note. The next time we get together to play, he was extremely apologetic about the entire evening, acknowledged that he was the dick in the situation, and even brought extra snacks as a peace offering. I'm happy to say that he took the group's advice to heart and varied up his repertoire since, and we didn't have any more incidents over the remaining few months of the campaign. He never talked about it after he apologized for it. I didn't either, I guess because I didn't need to. We didn't really stay in touch after the game ended, so I don't know how he's doing today. But I like to think he really learned a lesson that night. And I'm glad I didn't end up giving him guff over it. Happy ending? Happy ending. Yeah, I do feel really good knowing that this player actually, instead of, latching onto it and becoming that guy, he came back and he's just like, listen, I was a dick, I was an asshole last session, but I've got something up my sleeve. And here, I got some extra Cheetos for the table. That's a real Chad. You say one thing, you fuck up one tactic that they're overusing, and they end up getting angry. They come back, they apologize, and they've got more up their fucking pocket that you don't have a way to plan around, and you've really got to be ready for everything. That's my favorite part of DMing, when somebody has come back with new shit and you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. You have no clue how to plan around the party for a solid 3 to 4 sessions. And this one's not a horror story, it's from r/D&D, it's a game tale. Too many D&D horror stories, so here's my positive post. I have the best new player ever. So I started talking to a guy some months ago, and it reached that point in all my social relations where I asked, do you know what Dungeons & Dragons is? He said he wanted to try it, and I made a campaign and put him in. He is playing a fallen Aasimar druid with Circle of the Spores. I started guiding him at first, as he has never played anything like D&D. I like to make the characters in kind of a session 0, so everyone can get to know each other at least a little bit. I start telling him how casters work, how you can use magic, and also warning him that it might be a bit confusing at first, or maybe a bit complex to take in mind everything he had, not to discourage him. I told him I would help, and the other players were experienced, so they could help too. I told him to have a notebook to take notes just in case. Anyway, session 1 comes. he pulls out his notebook, and then another, and then another. In one, he had all the druid spells he could learn, its effects, casting time, materials, all the information he needed, all put in an organized, beautiful way I have never seen. All the information about his character, stats, backstory, inventory, everything. Again, all decorated and ultra clean. And the other, a notebook entirely for notes about the campaign. He writes down every single name. He also roleplays nicely, has good or fun ideas like messaging a noble via using his druid skills to write shit in the sky. He also wrote a really good backstory with everything I needed. I boast about having him in my party to every person that plays Dungeons & Dragons that I know, because I swear he has to be one of the best new players I have ever had in my entire life. Edit. I see some don't believe this. I can post some photos of the notebook when I see him again. I see him on Wednesday. Again, Dream DM gets Dream Player. That's what this should be summed up as. This dude's a completely new character. The DM has a session 0 with the brand new player and tells the player, hey, next time come by with a notebook or two and just write down stuff you feel like you need to write. And he comes back and he's done so much more. He has everything. He has all of his spells organized. He has his entire character sheet organized, an entire backstory organized. And he comes and he has a separate notebook entirely for taking campaign notes, and he writes down every single thing. This is a Dream Player. This is the dude who you know is gonna like go out on that random side quest, that one fetch quest that always ends up in slaying a dragon. Good on you, OP. Holy fuck. I am happy for you. Jesus Christ. May your buckets always be bronzed and gold. Now, that's all we have for today. Much love and stay sexy. I will be seeing you guys later, and I do stream on twitch.tv/TsuYuNatsuni if you are interested in subscribing there. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really does help me out in the algorithm. It helps the video get by, and well, went away from the haha funny number, so much love and stay sexy. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.